You wait. Oh, hello, we're here. We're live, and welcome to another Lord Slarr live stream. And tonight I have on Jacob Licklider.
Hello.
Joey Morgan.
You got wrong.
Oh. Yeah, I got it wrong on purpose, Jacob, because you said I got it right on Twitter and complimented me, so I thought I'd, switch things up. And Ryan, can I dox your second name?
I'd just say no.
So... Okay, and here we have Ryan.
Hello there.
Yeah, Joey and Jacob have YouTube channels, which I'll leave a link to in the description, but I forgot to for the live stream, but I will later when this actually uploads. So, hello, how are you all?
Tired.
So, I bet you've all had a fun week watching Chris Chibnall episodes and season 18 episodes.
Oh, sure. Jacob, you didn't tell me this was about season 18 until yesterday, so, I'm actually kind of pissed at you. Not that I need the fuel to rage about season 18, but, I'm still a bit mad at it.
Your mic's going a bit odd, Joey.
Oh, sorry. Am I good?
Try again. Just say something again.
I was saying that I'm a bit upset that I haven't had the time to fuel my for season 18.
There's something wrong with your mic. I can make out what you're saying, but only just.
Okay. Yeah, there's a weird reverb.
It's not the reverb. It's just it sounds like you've got a boiled egg in your mouth.
Oh, okay. I'll work on that.
That sounds a bit better, actually. So, yeah.
Oh, cool.
So first of all, we're going to talk about some Christopher Chibnall episodes. Is Chris actually short for Christopher? It must be. In his case. Because sometimes you get people christened just Chris.
Or Christine.
What, he's transgender, is he?
Oh, God.
Yeah, and that's why I made Jodie transgender, you see. Conspiracy theory.
Is Jodie...
Not Jodie, I mean the Doctor. Because
yeah, but our Time Lord which gender's transgender, though. I'm kind of, confused with Time Lord biology right now.
He can only write a Doctor he can relate to, and that's why he's turned the Doctor into a woman.
Yes.
True. he should have just cast Russell T Davies as the Doctor, then.
Actually...
All right, so the episode that we will first talk about is 42. So, who wants to start talking about 42 then?
Not me.
Can I start because it's...
You can start, Jacob, yes.
It's a solid idea, but let's be honest, 42 as an episode is kind of a hodgepodge of trying to do too much in a 42-minute episode. It wants to be in real time.
Well, isn't that literally every single episode of his? Apart from Tyler.
Are you admitting that it's stuck in a 42-minute episode? You just gave Chris Chibnall the win there.
Yeah. Just one thing. Have any of you seen the...
I'm just then. Jesus.
I'm sorry, everyone, but we're a bit beset with technical issues. I mean, I accidentally started the wrong stream earlier.
Oh, dear.
Then nobody could join, and now everybody's mic is just going to crap. Do I sound okay? I hope I do. But anyway, so yeah, what were you saying, Jacob, if you can speak now?
I'm guessing he...
Okay, Jacob's out of action. Right, so.
Hopefully I'm being heard.
There you go, I can hear you now.
Everything
He's trying
to
to man impression.
Okay, cool. Am I being heard? Am I good?
Okay, you got
or am I going crazy?
You're all right now.
Okay, so the big problem with 42 is that it's trying to do this big environment. Don't use crude oil, and I'm also trying to write a story real time. Also, the premise is you have to go through quiz shows. Also, Martha is in danger. Also, we have the random cameo for Mr. Saxon with Martha's mother. It's too...
For God's sake, Jacob. This is starting to remind me why I didn't do live streams for a very long time.
Oh, no.
This is just what happens, isn't it?
This is a flawless live stream.
Just an omni shambles, to quote Malcolm Tucker. Right, but since Jacob can't seem to get more than a paragraph in without cutting off,
this is why podcasts work better.
Just tried it. Oh God.
immediately.
All right, so have any of you seen the film Sunshine?
I've not.
Unfortunately.
Now, tell me if I'm wrong, but I think they were released the same year, and they've got almost exactly the same premise. So it makes me wonder if Chibnall nicked the idea, or vice versa, or whether it's just a huge coincidence. Because in Sunshine, it's a well, it's not exactly the same premise. In Sunshine, people go to the sun in a ship to kind of restart it, but then people get kind of possessed by the sun halfway through. Yeah, and it was too similar to 42 to be a coincidence, really. I don't know. I just thought that was something to mention because I've always found that quite odd about 42 because it is a reasonably solid episode. It's not brilliant, and I think the biggest criticism of it is it claims to be real time, but it isn't actually real time if you look at some of the scenes.
I really don't think that's anything to criticize heavily. I mean, it is just a pretty innocent flaw. But I mean, it's a competent story. But it really works too well. You consider
Jacob, just don't speak unless you can actually speak, because you're just interrupting the call at this point. Right, go on, Jimmy.
Yeah, so I was saying that that it's a competent episode, but it kind of fails when you consider how much more they could have actually done with the concept, as compared to where it ended up. So I don't know, could have been a lot better, but it's competent. So.
Well, I think that's kind of a running theme with Chibnall here. Extreme competence, but lack of anything amazing. Which, it's different than Stephen Moffat, who can write amazing things, but most of the time his writing is very incompetent. What do you think, Ryan? Just to get your thoughts. You're a bit more New Who friendly than us.
That's the thing. That's probably why you brought me in, because I'm probably likely going to annoy.
Yeah, you're our token idiot.
Oh,
I'm joking.
Thanks for that introduction. I appreciate it. I am actually in the minority of even New Who fans that actually kind of likes 42. Now, I'll admit it's not perfect by any means. Like all the problems you guys said, I do agree with, but I think it has some really strong moments. I think this is the episode where Martha really sort of comes into her own with the Doctor. I like the scene where the Doctor has to be frozen. He's sort of going through that trauma. I think that's actually quite strong, because I like when David Tennant's Doctor, because it never really happens, is sort of pushed to his extreme. So you look at episodes like Midnight in the Waters of Mars, where he really stands out, whereas other times he's just sort of the bland Doctor. So
definitely.
Yeah, so I like moments when the 10th Doctor is really pushed to his limits, and I think this was one of those times. And I like the fact that Martha actually helped the situation. She was competent, knew what she was doing, and stuff like that. The side characters were okay. They weren't that memorable. I only remember the one who was with Martha simply because he was in Waterloo Road. Like, that's literally the only room. I'd say it's like an average or maybe decent episode.
Yeah.
I like what Chibnall, he has this idea in his head that it's not executed perfectly.
I agree pretty much entirely with what you said there, but I do want to touch upon something you said at the beginning there, because among the classic community, 42 is almost universally considered all right.
Okay.
So could you explain to me why a lot of people really dislike this? Because I have seen some pretty strong words said about it, and I don't quite understand the reasoning there, and I'd like to know.
I don't know specifically. Like, I see so many. It's mainly New Who fans who just despise 42. I know some people think it's the worst episode. I think
really
the worst you can say about 42 is that it's a bit bland in places, which I agree with. Some people say it's boring, it's unfocused. Which, I mean, fair enough.
That covers about what 50% of New Who episodes, if not more.
But Love and Monsters.
Monsters, my dudes.
Yeah, Jacob.
Am I being heard?
You are now, but sometimes you will just cut off, and then sometimes you will speak, and it'll just overpower the whole conversation.
He just popped in to say Love and Monsters, and that was it.
Yeah, all right, okay, bye. We'll see you again in 20 minutes.
God.
Probably. Can I still just tell me if I start?
No, pitch in, Jacob, since you've been dead.
It's 42 is just a deed story. Like, it doesn't have the charm of like the Trout and Base Hunter seed stories to make it interesting, or like the horror of, say, Impossible Planet and Satan Pit. It's just sort of bland.
Yeah, no, I get that, and I get that it's a bit bland, but you know what?
I think the characters are a lot more likable in the Satan Pit, like a lot memorable as well.
It's not a waste of 42 minutes of your life. You watch it, you enjoy it, and then you kind of forget about it. There's nothing wrong with 42. But I will say, it's not showrunner material. Obviously, we've still got 3 episodes to talk about, but 42 is not showrunner material.
I guess
but I've also heard that it was written in a rush. Like, it was written in a quick rush to get it done.
42 minutes. Mm-hmm.
Maybe that explains why it's done in real time, because he thought, right, I need to write this episode really quickly. So let's just think of the story minute by minute inside my head, then write it down. Yeah, that's a good script. There you go.
I want to bring up one thing. I saw somewhere in the live chat here that, hang on, who said it? Life Upgrade said it. Said at least Mark Gatiss isn't becoming showrunner. Here's the thing. Like, with Mark Gatiss, you never know what the hell you're going to get. Chibnall, I know I'm just going to get the most average shit ever. I'd at least be a bit more interested to see how Mark Gatiss would.
I don't know, Joey. I'm ready for some average. I've put up with 7 years of just shite, the occasional nugget of gold. A few years of average, I can deal with that, as long as he doesn't stay as eternally long as Stephen Moffat did.
I mean, if it is just average, people will say it's the golden era, like they did with the Russell era.
Well, just because, for the Russell era, because it was better than nothing, and this year because it's better than shite.
Certain fans just love the drama. So, like, if you say, why do you love Series 2, they'll say because Rose X10 and whatever.
Yeah, I mean, I do want to bring up one thing that, Ryan, you said earlier, and I do want to kind of refute that you like when the 10th Doctor is pushed to his limits, and 42 is one of those episodes. Yeah. I think that there is a pretty, when you put specifically the 10th Doctor to his limits, is that the 10th is that David Tennant himself just gets really weird and shouty and really awkward. He doesn't really act it well. And I think it's probably at one of its worst in 42. So I can't agree with that point, though I do agree with a fair amount of what you said. The characters are somewhat forgettable, and Martha's all right.
I mean, I'd rather him be shouty than him trying to be funny. Like when he's like, "Oh, hello there," and he's like got kind of floral things around his neck, and he's like going, "Ooh," and I don't know. I don't like that. Maybe it's some people find it funny, but I don't.
You mean like a sitcom?
Yeah, like when Murray Gold puts on his silly music. Whenever that's played, it's not funny.
Donna's theme is basically sitcom music. Let's just
it's Murray Gold's silly music, and I can't stand his silly music because it's basically just saying this is the part where you laugh because this is the silly music. This is the sad music. You cry now. This is the big blaring action music. You gape in awe, and it's just like. I don't know. I don't like that way of doing it.
Well, I made a video once. The opening of The End of Time where it goes and sees Ood Sigma. I did that. Yeah. I put a laughing track on it.
That's what I was referring to when I was saying the comedy bit. Because that's what first came to mind as really bad Tennant humor.
Like the beginning of that episode. I know we're getting a bit off track. It feels like the opening to The Big Bang Theory.
Apparently, somebody saying that Murray Gold is Helen A.
What?
How?
What
did I say? What did I say to suggest that?
Helen A?
What did anyone say to suggest that?
I don't know. And somebody made a good point here, which we're actually going to touch on later, I think. Because you don't particularly get it in this episode, but you do get it in later episode. Chibnall is a good character writer. And he talks about Broadchurch. Now, they're quite good at that. That's Time Lord Magic, you said that. It's a friend of mine. Yeah, he's quite a good character writer, isn't he? Should we move on to the next story, actually, so we can talk about that? Because in my opinion, the characters are...
Oh, he's still alive? Next story is Hungry Earth and Cold Blood, correct?
Yes, it is.
Yeah, no, the characters are good in that one.
Yeah, well, do you want to move on to that? Or, well, actually, closing thoughts on 42. Does anybody else have anything to say about 42?
It's about his average... Sorry.
I just wanted to ask, we are not going over his Torchwood stuff?
No. I haven't watched Torchwood in about 10 years or something ridiculous like that. So,
fair enough.
I mean, his Doctor stuff is relevant, but I feel his Doctor Who stuff is more relevant. And obviously, I don't want the live stream to go on forever, especially as I'm in a house where other people are in the house.
Yeah,
so I can't keep them up as much as I'd love to live stream forever. All right, so everybody done with 42?
Yeah, I'd say so.
Right, the Hungry Earth, Cold Blood. So moving into Matt Smith territory now, which is actually quite odd for me watching Matt Smith's episodes because I don't. Because I'm not a big fan of his era. In fact, I consider it personally my least favorite era of Doctor Who.
Wow.
And yeah, I know you'll disagree with that, Ryan, but I rarely go back to rewatch his episodes. But Series 5 is decent, and it's a decent episode.
Okay.
But I'll start this time. So it's a decent episode, but I have a couple of criticisms and a couple of things I really like about it. My criticisms are it's basically just a retelling of Doctor Who and the Silurians. There's really not much different at its core than Doctor Who and the Silurians. The other thing that is really different is the kind of character focus it goes for. In the original, it kind of was like big wigs and officials, military and science, elite people who were reacting to the Silurians. Whereas in this, it's ordinary people reacting to the Silurians, which, that does make it different. But still, the story is very, very similar in a hell of a lot of senses, which kind of makes me feel it was a little bit pointless. What do you guys think about it?
Well, I mean, I think that that Chris Chibnall was given the brief of make a New Who equivalent of Doctor Who and the Silurians.
Yeah, that's what I think, and he probably took that a little too literally.
And he was told to accomplish what Doctor Who and the Silurians accomplished in her era. What Chibnall
Can I just pause you all a second? Brian, you are wrong. Oh, actually, Brian, you were right if you talk about Series 5, but
wait, can I just talk about a comment here?
Yeah, because Brian said that all the Smith series are god level compared to Series 9, and actually, you know what? Okay, Series 6 and 5 are better than Series 9, so I don't have a problem with your comment, Brian. You're cool.
Hang on, can someone elaborate on this? I don't know if it's a joke. As Steve McQuark said,
it's a joke.
The Hungry Earth is a metaphor for Jews.
Yeah, no, Steve McQuark is somebody I know who likes to haunt my chats.
That's hilarious.
It's Jerry, for those of you who've been watching a lot of my panel discussions.
Doctor Who is a metaphor for the Holocaust.
Right, okay, I think what we should do is not read out comments like that, otherwise you would take me down.
Sorry, I did forget.
So we do not condone messages from the chat that have been read out, and we thoroughly oppose all forms of anti-Semitism. That's all I've got to say. And you should be hung as a traitor.
I do need to say one thing. Somebody brought it up. Somebody brought up Warriors of the Deep, saying that Hungry Earth Cold Blood is better than Warriors of the Deep. Not even respectfully. I disagree. Okay, just getting that out.
Joey Morgan, please.
I wasn't even planning.
Right, Joey. We're talking about Hungry Earth Cold Blood. Okay, shut up, Jacob.
Can I?
No,
I have a
quiet.
point to make. I have a point.
Jacob, you can't even speak properly.
You will be like us.
Right. Okay, so be quiet. We're going to talk about Hungry Earth Cold Blood, and maybe once we finish talking about it, we can talk about it compared to Warriors of the Deep.
Okay.
All right. But everybody okay with that? Go on, Ryan. You can speak now.
I really like it. And, okay, maybe this is because I saw it before Doctor Who and the Silurians. I saw that a few months ago. I really liked it, but I think there are certain differences. You're right with the similarities as well, but I think the characters are really memorable. I think I remember each one of them. Maybe not the names, but that's just because I'd never remember anyone's name. So just leave that out. I'd say my biggest problem with the episode is probably that redhead woman who just kills the hostage.
Yeah, that's true. She's a bit of a... She's like, I am a mother. I will do anything to protect my child. That is my character.
Yes, and you will lessen the chance of getting my child back.
Therefore, death.
Like, oh, we need this person to die, so let's just write this person to die, rather than this is a thing that this character would actually do.
Yeah, she just kind of turns on the heartless bitch, like, all of a sudden, you know? It's not really built up. Like, you don't see, I don't know, like, beating her husband or something, whatever.
Okay, that's a bit like, yeah. Not go that far. Okay.
No, I'm joking.
I know, this isn't Russell we're talking about.
Yeah, no, yeah. So the characters were really good in this one, which surprised me. A lot of the time, New Who seems to fall in the trap of not having a chance to develop its side characters because obviously it has much shorter stories, and it's very difficult to kind of balance developing all aspects of a New Who story because of the short time frame. But because this is a two-parter, it manages to both develop the plot as well as develop like the companions and develop the side characters, which really works in this story. And I hope in Chibnall's Era we get to see more side character development because in most Classic Who stories, while you never saw like, you know, these amazing character arcs for the most part, all of the side characters got developed most of the time, and all of them ended up somewhere different than where they began. And there's way more memorable side characters from Classic Who than New Who, in my opinion. So I hope Chibnall maybe does this a bit more because I liked it here, and I would like to see more of it in his era.
Hang on, I have to completely disagree with everything being said here because I think that the characters in this are completely memorable little shits.
Okay. Fair enough.
Like,
No,
like it absolutely no enjoyment as they all just feel like they have one specific goal and there's no actual complexity or complex ideas put into them. I feel like they should have been fleshed out a lot more, which they're fleshed out more than most. You know, it's a two-part story, which automatically gives it more time to breathe than most New Who stories. But I feel like most of that time is still given to telling the Silurian story, which is
can I just pause you a moment, Joey? Brian just said that it makes sense to rehash Doctor Who and the Silurians and introduce it to a new audience. You can introduce villains to a new audience without rehashing an old story. They did it with the Daleks. I mean, sure, they ripped off Jubilee, but they still didn't rip off a TV story. And it was the same writer who wrote Jubilee doing it. And like the Sontarans, they didn't just retell the Time Warrior to reintroduce the Sontarans. You can introduce them in a very different way. I mean, you don't have to make the most complex story ever, so people can kind of ease into it gently. But you could do something a lot different with it than this did.
I'm fairly sure that Hungry Air for the Cold Blood does reference Doctor Who and the Silurians. You know, when the Hot Doctor is taken prisoner, and then he mentions that it was 50 years ago.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. No, it does, because it was relevant. But anyway, Joey, you can continue now. Sorry for interrupting. I just wanted to get that before the chat kind of was out of date.
Well, Ryan says that they reference Doctor Who and the Silurians, and I'm pretty sure he's just referring to the entire story there. But,
Fair enough.
No, but as I was saying, like I think the characters are mostly forgettable, and you have the Silurians that they focus on much more, which is just telling the exact same story as Doctor Who and the Silurians. Whereas if you had devoted more time to these new characters and told more of their story, then it wouldn't feel as much like a rehash of Doctor Who and the Silurians.
Yeah, no, I agree. Because the whole time, I mean, not the whole time. What it's going for to try and make it different from Doctor Who and the Silurians is having a different kind of character to kind of react to the Silurians. So they should have developed them more. Maybe they could have avoided some of the pitfalls of rehashing Doctor Who and the Silurians. I think you're definitely right there, Joe. You've definitely got a point. I can also just quickly say to the chat, don't ask us questions right now, as we'll be answering questions after this segment, before the next segment. Okay? Thank you. Anyway, go on.
I do want to say, did Doctor Who and the Silurians really have that memorable characters?
Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah. Dr. Quinn, Peter Miles's character, and I can't remember. Oh, Dr. Lawrence, that's his name.
I don't remember even. I only watched it a few months ago.
Yeah, and Colonel Baker's really good. And Paul Darrow as Captain Hawkins as well.
I love a little bit that he's introduced as this really generic military man. We find out a lot more about him, that he has a specific reason for being prejudiced to other beings like this, and that it all comes back to bite him. He's a really nice, well-rounded character. He works really well.
And so I think Dr. Lawrence and Dr. Quinn are as well. They all change over the course of the episode, and it's quite good. And also, I think it's a very good episode for developing the Doctor and the Brigadier's relationship. I think it's just it doesn't have many memorable characters. Is perhaps. I mean, I would disagree with it. I mean, you're entitled to your opinion, of course. But
Silurians is also 7 episodes long, and am I good? Am I good now?
Yeah, you're good now, Jacob.
Okay, I think I'm in
be
a better spot.
Part-time stream mate.
I'm in a better spot now.
Good. So yeah, no. So finishing thoughts on Hungry Earth Cold Blood before we dive into Warriors of the Deep, just because Joey's here.
I say it's Chibnall's best script for Who so far.
So Brian
that's
says
all-
here that Centaurans are completely different because Silurians are earthbound creatures. There isn't actually a lot to do with them other than the core ideas from the Silurians, which I have to disagree with because there are many different ways to do Silurian stories.
Yeah.
You can't just be, you know,
I mean,
oh,
look at Blood Tide. Blood Tide was a big finish story which introduced the core elements of the Silurians while being completely different from
Yeah.
Doctor Who and the Silurians. I mean, for one, it's set in the past, and it's got like, you know, Charles Darwin. You know, it's brilliant. It shows that you can do a Doctor Who and the Silurians story, kind of reintroduce the Silurians without redoing the episode. You can set it somewhere different, do something better. So I have to disagree with you, Brian.
Yeah, and then you can also include the idea of the Silurians teaming up or really even having a specific war against the humans, not just the entire human race, but a specific group of them, which is what happened.
Yeah.
Just there's this military group or secret government group that is trying to experiment on them, and it works really well.
On what do you guys think of the redesigns?
Oh!
The redesign
I'd forgotten about the redesign, and
May I
the pick. Right,
Hi,
Jacob,
I'm a biologist.
You can go, Doctor Lick Litter.
Look, they don't work because people seem to forget that it comes from a fundamental misunderstanding of how evolution works. If they were reptilian in origin through the species, they wouldn't. The females would not have breasts. They wouldn't have human eyes. They would not have noses like they do. They look too much like a mammal. They aren't a reptile.
Yeah, well, before we start criticizing the science of Doctor Who too much, let's go into why I think they're wrong from a literary standpoint.
Why it doesn't work is because the original design actually looks something reptilian.
Yeah.
Well,
I agree.
Slightly amphibious.
But you see, I think that's why the original design works better. It looks nothing like a human. They act very little like humans. And the fact they're so different kind of shows that the two species just can't really get along because there's too much fear, too much cultural difference here. It's just too difficult for them to get along. And that's why no matter how hard the Doctor tries, he never seems to manage to get them to go along with each other. And when you make them so human, when you make them act so human, when you make them look so human, when you kind of give them very human attributes, you lose that. And that was one of what I feel the original script and the original costumes were trying to convey. And this just completely ditches that and just makes them basically reptile humans. And
people,
the humans could get along with these because just ignore the green scales, they're barely any different. I mean, they may as well just be like, you know, it's like saying, oh, white men can't get on with black men. It's basically like saying that because they are just humans with green skin at this point. So of course they get along.
Masks on, they don't look too terrible, but I think without, it just looks, it definitely too human.
It also really doesn't look anything like the original design.
Yeah. They were originally intending to go for something very similar to the original design, but they changed their minds and decided, you know what? Let's just do some more generic lizard human costumes.
Can I play devil's advocate and say maybe it was down to the fact they wanted certain characters to show more emotion? I'm not saying that's the case or that's a good reason, but if you went with the original design, you would likely have to use CGI.
Yeah, well, you remember the the older suits, it was literally just a rubber suit.
Yeah, that's
with today's makeup and effects, you could make a mask like that and show emotion, I'm sure.
Yeah, and you totally could have taken that original design, and you could see it from that original concept art that they had where they wanted to.
I saw that the other day.
They could have done that and still made those faces show more emotion and emphasize features and more ways that they're feeling. And it really could. The story really benefited from making them look more alien, but still human. I
mean, it clearly wasn't an episode that was lacking funding because the sets look beautiful, so they could have done it. Right, quickly, before we move on to the next story, let's talk about this versus Warriors of the Deep, because somebody brought it up, and I like beef. So go on, Joey. Why is Warriors...
for a moment.
Sure, I can for a moment.
Go on, Joey, just get it out there.
I'll just get going. Okay. I did a video on this recently on my channel, so I won't dwell too long. The story isn't nearly as bad as many make it out to be. I feel like the Silurians are still a really effective monster in it. They could have done so much more if the production was better. Because the script I feel is really solid. The script had a lot of interesting ideas. Maybe bar with the Sea Devils, but even the Merca. I mean, the Merca was poorly realized, but you have. But the way it's done in the script, it's a pretty threatening monster for what it does alone. And obviously, like I said, it's not portrayed well. But what it does is interesting and pretty threatening.
Can I admit something embarrassing quickly before you finish?
What? Oh, I think I know.
I first watched this story when I was 8, and I was scared of the Merca.
I actually knew that.
And I was scared of the rat from the Talons of Weng Chiang. But let's not get into Weng Chiang. I think that this would be a bad week to talk about the Talons of Weng Chiang. Anyway, go on, Jerry.
Okay. Well, I guess it's relevant to talk about Talons of Weng Chiang. But anyway, yeah, the Silurians. I think they, especially considering the character of the leader Ichthar that the story introduces, you sense that him and the Doctor at least know each other. Which is only really emphasized in the expanded universe, but you feel their the relationship between them, that they know each other, and they're done effectively. I feel, at least script wise, their designs are pretty cool and obviously inferior to their original. But they at least the costumes, they're not the worst costume travesty that the story produces. So that's the most you can give those designs.
Well, I mean, you were right. Warriors of the Deep does have a terrible production, and the script is pretty shit as well. And it just equals to make a very, very boring episode that I think you're really, really reaching to kind of defend it. But whatever, you're allowed to enjoy it. I mean, at least
the only story you're not allowed to enjoy is Hellbent, because
exactly. I mean, it's not. I mean, if there's one thing I can say for Warriors of the Deep, it's not offensively bad. It doesn't ruin Doctor Who's lore. It's just kind of there. And I think Hungry of Cold Blood is better because not only is it a very good production, it's also very more competently written, isn't boring, and has better characters.
I'd also make an argument that that Hungry Earth and Cold Blood works also partially because it just it tries to do something new, and even if it fails, it's trying to reintroduce a monster, even though it is derivative of earlier work.
Yeah.
Yeah. Are we seeing this message in the chat?
What message?
Newest one.
Well, I'm stuck in a religious procession. Send help, please. I don't even know how to answer that. I don't even have a witty comment on hand because I wasn't expecting to see that. I mean, who expects to see that? Right. So well, my final thoughts on Hungry of Cold Blood. It's all right. The character's really good. It shows some hope for Chibnall's ability to write characters well, but it is a bit derivative of Doctor Who and the Silurians, which is a shame. But still not a bad story.
A lot of the problems seem to be not on the writing side, more on the production side.
Well, that's only really the costume. I felt like the sets were beautiful.
Yeah, one of my problems is that that for whatever reason they decide we're going to have all the Silurians be played by Neve McIntosh and the guy that plays the male Silurian.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
We only have 5 actors in Britain. We have to divide them up evenly. Come on, give us a break.
It was 50, now it's 5.
I also argue that the redesign is also just unrecognizable as a Silurian. But we've sort of talked about that. Even with the Cybermen redesign, they still look kind of like Cybermen. And is my sound still coming through?
Yeah, no, you're all good. It's all right. We'll tell you when you're not good.
Okay, I'm just... Yeah.
We'll make sure you know.
Yeah, that's really all I got.
Yeah, all right. So, I think that's it for Hungry of Cold Blood. If anybody else has any other comments on it?
Just one thing is that the screwdriver should not be able to bloody disable guns like it does.
That is true. I mean, the sonic screwdriver just shouldn't be a thing anymore.
No, because Silurians use sonic guns. They use sonic guns. That actually kind of makes sense.
Okay.
So you're saying that sound waves can destroy a gun? Is that what you're telling me?
Not destroy, but it could also
waves
like cancel out other
can destroy
sound
a
if you
gun.
get the right frequency.
You can't do wood, apparently.
Yeah, well, at that point, you could just destroy anything. Like, oh, if I produce exactly the right frequency, this planet will crack apart. I mean, is the sonic screwdriver going to be able to do that? I mean,
No,
sky's the limit at this point.
screwdriver.
He's blown up alien fleets with it. So,
That don't remind
where's
me.
the limit?
Shit. Can we just... I was really hoping we would have the sonic screwdriver destroyed for, like...
Yeah, come on. Bring back Eric Saywood just for an episode so he can relive his fetish of destroying the sonic screwdriver. Anyway.
You know that scene in Love and War when the Doctor is forced to relive his most horrifying memory?
Yeah.
Well, it should be... If Eric Saywood had written Love and War, it would have been the sonic screwdriver getting destroyed. And he just would have lived it over and over again.
Yeah.
Anyway, so we're going to move on to the next one's Dinosaurs on the Spaceship, isn't it? Yeah, it is.
Yeah. I forgot about this.
Yeah, so I think we'll let Ryan go first.
Oh,
Sorry, we often have somebody on here called Brian as the problem. So, Ryan,
He's in
you
the
can
chat
go
right now.
I know he is. You can go first since you're the Matt Smith fan.
Yes, I am. It's just completely average. That's the best way you can describe it. Average / bad, because it tries to be this just really fun, not deep episode, which I don't mind. I don't think every episode needs to be a heaven sent or just something super deep, and sometimes Doctor Who can just be about fun, which I appreciate, but it just tries to do too much, and even I, the Smith fanboy, will admit that Smith just goes too silly at times. I hated, the Peep Show guys. Can't remember the two names.
Oh God, David Mitchell and Robert Webb. They were humiliated.
Couldn't remember the names. They were just really obnoxious and annoying.
Right, no, basically, they played the two robots in it, and if you don't know, they're like one of my favorite comedy duos. And basically, they're reduced to going, "Oi, you should have done this." No, but I am doing this. Or you should have done that. And it's like, oh, I did do it. And it's just like, is this humor now? Is this Chibnall's sense of humor? If so, I am very concerned for his era, especially as he is quoted as saying that the new series is quirky and fun. I'm worried if this is his sense of humor, because it is.
Remember, it also loses the daftness and idiosyncrasies of the earlier Doctors.
It might be a bit inappropriate to say because he's just died, but
what are you going to say, Ryan?
No. This role kind of feels like it was more suited to the Chuckle Brothers.
Yeah, it does actually, because I mean, no offense to the Chuckle Brothers, but they're very basic humor. So it would have suited, even though it still wouldn't have been funny. At least would have been on that kind of level. Whereas Mitchell and Webb are hilarious. This just felt like they were being humiliated. Whereas I feel like the Chuckle Brothers could have actually made something of it, just because the way they can kind of do this kind of to meet you, mate. It would have worked a bit there.
Chuckle Brothers is my favorite children's show of all time, so it would have been a dream for them to have ever been in Doctor Who, but now it can never happen. So
you can have one Chuckle Brother.
Screw you, Chris Chibnall. Okay, just for not including the Chuckle Brothers in this.
Screw you, Chris Chibnall. He killed Barry Chuckle just so we could never have it.
Chibnall's fault. But one other problem I would say with the episode is that it's very tonally inconsistent. So
that is very true. 1 minute it's fun dinosaurs, the next minute the Doctor is literally murdering a man.
No, that's what I'm saying. We have dinosaurs on a spaceship and it's all fun and whatever. I didn't find it that fun because I found the set designs a little bit too bland, too dark. I didn't really like the side characters that much. But it
looked a bit cheap.
Yeah,
it looked like they were trying to do it on the cheap.
I agree. I just kind of had this feeling like, okay, I know what tone they're going for, fair enough, and then all of a sudden we have David Bradley, and he's all like, oh, I killed the Silurians because of my dinosaurs, and then the Doctor's like, you are a monster. He's like, yes, I am evil. It just takes this really drastic turn.
Yeah. Can I just say one thing? The man who never would. He literally leaves him to die. Because I hadn't seen this broadcast. I watched it the other day, And I was just like, oh, okay, so he's left him there, but he's actually going to materialize on the spaceship and pick up, be like, nah, just joking. Let's put you on this desolate planet. But no, he killed him. What a madman!
No, he killed the first Doctor for being sexist.
yeah, that is canon. That is canon.
So anyway, I have to I hate to say it once again, disagree with most of what was said. Although this time I have to be positive against your negativity. I kind of enjoy it. I think it's a fun enough episode. I think the actors are what really make it. They're fun characters, but not over. I mean, some of it's overbearing. It's not a necessarily good episode. I just think it's fairly fun. It's okay. And it's serviceable. Like I said, that's most of Chris Chibnall's work for Doctor Who and most of Chris Chibnall's work overall. It's just okay. It's about as average as it can get. But I think Dinosaurs on the Spaceship is a bit more fun. So, yeah.
I mean, I'm going to say this. Because competence is a word that always comes up when you talk about Chris Chibnall. This is probably his least competent episode, but it's not his worst. Because it is enjoyable, but it has a lot of problems. Again, the tone
and it tells also as a story. It at least tells. There's a definite. It's decently paced.
But
unlike
one thing I have to criticize is the pace, especially for like the first 10 or 20 minutes, is breakneck fast. It's way too fast. It's like do. It's just this is too much for my mind to process. Slow down. We are not on speed. We can cope with things moving slowly. Attention spans have reduced, but not by that much. I know you've only got 42 minutes to tell your story, but still, slow the fuck down. You are not Sonic the Hedgehog.
No, he's Sonic the Screwdriver.
Or he's dead. Ben Williams.
Well, I mean, Sonic the Screwdriver is now Sonic the Dildo, but
Still, yeah.
You're not allowed to say that. That is in fact sexist. I was called sexist for saying it looked kind of like.
I mean, it's always looked like a dildo, but A, it looks a little bit more like one now, and B, it's more funny because the Doctor's a woman.
Sonic has always looked like a vibrator. It's just this is the most like a vibrator it's ever.
And fun fact, in the visitation, Missa uses a Sonic vibrator in a bedroom. It's true. It does happen.
You know what it looks like? It looks like the memory worm from the Snowman. That's what it looks like.
Yeah, as somebody was saying in the chat, Brian was actually quite good. I didn't. Unlike, I've really not enjoyed seeing a lot of people's families in New Who, but I liked Brian. He was alright. Seemed like just a nice geek. Is that
Brian just seemed like Brian seemed like a normal person.
Yeah,
he's another one of the I feel characters in Dinosaurs on the Spaceship that luckily carries over into Chibnall's next episode.
I think what's funny about Brian is that whenever there's a new Who character who's trying to be funny, it's like they're trying to tell jokes. So my main example would be Strax. And he'll say,
we'll save Strax for another time, Ryan.
No, I mean, Strax. What I'm saying is, he's an example of a character who is meant to be funny, and everything is a joke with him. Whereas I think Brian is funny, but it's because he's real, and what he's saying isn't intended to be funny from an in-universe perspective. But I don't know if this is making much sense. So,
but I know I get you. It's just he's just naturally quite charismatic and amusing.
Yeah, it's not like
he's just a good old chap,
Which by casting Mark Williams, you're helping that. That helps because Mark Williams is a genuine guy. The guy played Arthur Weasley, one of those characters who is just a good guy.
Yeah.
How did I not know that? How did I not know this?
Yeah, what? I know. It just clicked for me the moment you said. I was like, "Fuck, that is him."
Great.
Oh,
yeah, Shay is here.
Getting schooled by a dumb American.
Shay, I confess my love to you, and I propose marriage. Go on.
Lord Slug, Jesus.
Yeah, the reason that started is because one of my friends, he's into Dragon Ball Z, and there's a character called Lord Slug in that.
Can I say that Doctor Who predicted India's superpower by 2020?
Well, I mean, maybe not. Well, I mean, it is kind of a superpower. I mean, it has the potential. Anyway, should we stop talking about global politics before I say something offensive?
Also, the Silurians were in Dinosaurs on a Spaceship.
Yeah, they were.
for like honestly, I feel
Well,
like
for like 2 seconds.
I feel like Chibnall. I feel like the setup for this episode is kind of because
I think
what
Chibnall
helped-
has a throbbing Silurian hard-on.
So
I think he like has pictures of Vastra on his phone.
he probably does. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, Dinosaurs on the Spaceship. Bit of an odd one. A bit too fast. Bit too many characters. But overall, I had fun, and I can't really complain when I have fun. And it wasn't great, but it was enjoyable. So I don't really have much complaint other than the pace being a bit too fast and Mitchell and Webb being utterly humiliated. It was. They were being humiliated in that script. It was terrible. They were given such shit lines.
They're very cross with you.
Yeah, I couldn't even tell it was them at first because of that line, because it just didn't sound anything like something they'd say.
I feel like something that can be said for most of Chibnall's episodes, other than 42, is that it could have been better developed as a two-parter. 42 was designed to be a one-part episode, but this and Power of definitely benefited from being two-parters.
Oh, totally. And I think you can tell Chibnall likes the longer stories, which honestly, it boggles my mind. Why didn't you do two-parters, Chibnall? You know it would be good. I know you do.
At least
it's better, but it's not enough.
Yeah, he's got an hour story now, so it might be a bit beneficial. Who knows?
It's not enough. 50 minutes is not enough. 60 minutes, maybe, for some stories.
Yeah, it's all an hour-long story. That's what I'm saying. Like,
No. The opening story is 60 minutes, but the rest of
I'm pretty sure every episode is going to be 60 minutes.
Yeah, everyone's going to be 50.
The first episode's 60, the rest of them are 50.
Are you sure?
Yep. I'm absolutely certain. I reported this news on my channel.
Okay. I believe you. Well, that's...
And we all... The word of Lord Slug, he is the one who broke the news of the surviving.
I am the arbiter of truth. I am basically God in my own right.
You didn't know 2 episodes of the Crusade that are still missing, and that's what he reported on there.
Okay, so yeah, apparently I'm wrong. Fair enough.
Well, yeah, I mean, I think so. I'm probably gonna get embarrassed now, but whatever. Wait, apparently they're gonna be 60. According to something here, I don't know. Maybe it's changed. Maybe I read an inaccurate bit of news, but I hope it's true. I wish it was true.
Yeah.
I would literally sacrifice a person to make it true.
Just sacrifice.
So much.
We're all good. Just erase it.
Well, why don't we just sacrifice Muffat? As he's gone now, so we may as well just end it.
That's a good thing, because Twice Upon a Time was a good thing.
Yeah, and
would you Brian with me to get 60-minute episodes?
Right, so I think we should move on to the Power of 3 then, since we're a wee bit pressed for time. Well, not that much. I mean, technically this is going as much as you want, but I try to cap them at 2 hours.
Yeah, no.
It can go a little over, of course, but 2 hours is the goal. But anyway, so the Power of 3. How about we Jacob's muted himself, so let's let Joey start.
Ooh, fun. Okay, Power 3 is a really fun episode. I think it's got a really strong concept behind it. And for the most part, it's executed pretty well. I think, obviously, big complaint about it by its biggest defenders would say that the ending is really rushed, and that it obviously is. Like I said, it definitely could have benefited from being a two-parter. That being said, the first, 2/3 of the story are really fun. I even kind of like Kate Stewart in it. She's pretty good. But the idea of the cubes and the slow invasion are really compelling, and like I said, you got some really fun characters. It's interesting to see the Dr. Amy Rory and even Brian Williams develop alongside each other. I don't like the forced scenes that are clearly foreshadowing the exit of Amy and Rory in the next episode.
Yeah.
You could tell they kind of shoved in last minute. But other than that, like I said, the first 2 halves are really solid. It's just the first 2/3, I should say. And then the last third is just where it all kind of goes to shit and gets rushed into 10 minutes and does nothing. So,
what I say is it has a very good build-up, an extremely good idea, but it just, as you said, it doesn't have enough time at the end to kind of wrap it up. It doesn't have enough time to kind of go from the kind of build-up to the stage where the stakes slowly get amplified to a massive level, and then have enough time, to kind of let that all properly sink in to make the stakes feel, like, oh God, I really want the Doctor to save the day, and then he goes and resolves the problem. Because, it's literally 1 minute everybody's dead of a heart attack, 2 minutes later, they're all alive again. It's like you kind of need a little longer to kind of let the stakes kind of set in a little bit before you can resolve it. They're resolving the problem way too fast. And it's 45-minute syndrome. It's not necessarily a writing fault, but it kind of is, really, because you know you're given 45 minutes to do this. So you shouldn't be doing ideas where you need longer than 45 minutes. You should save them for when you have an actual opportunity to properly do them. Otherwise, because it feels like a good idea was just wasted here, and it's a shame. And hopefully now that
part of me feels like
now that Chibnall's in more control, he'll be able to, really get his ideas out and like get them done properly. I feel like he's been held back by kind of like, you just do this episode to kind of fill time. I feel like he's often been a bit, kind of abused by not abused, but I mean, like, he's just been kind of given like, right, you just do this to kind of fill the time, and they don't really care what his idea is or how much time it needs or what care it needs. But maybe I'm wrong with that, but I just kind of get a feeling.
If I may, I think Power 3 is really good at sort of capturing the manicness of 11, like sort of his. It sort of puts him in a situation where he kind of has to stay put for an undisclosed amount of time, and it kills him. Because I mean, let's be honest, none of the doctors would do well if they could.
I'm sorry, no, I'm not reading that out. Is it? Okay, no, I'm gonna read it out. Dye your skin black and you'll look like Toba, man.
Oh, wow.
No, we do not condone that comment, but I had to share it with you.
You were telling me off, but okay.
Well, I mean, it's not. Nazis are more targeted on YouTube.
I do want to say something. Chibnall's last two stories, though, in Series 7, I feel like they really could have benefited if Moffat had stuck with the structure of Series 5 and Series 6, because obviously they're more suited to the two-part format, and if that structure had stayed, maybe not so much the Series 6 structure with a really heavy story arc, but the Series 5 structure where, you had that more free room to tell random stories with the two-parter here and there. Maybe sacrifice either Power 3 or Dinosaurs in a Spaceship to be a one-parter, as long as the other could be a two-parter. And I think that could have really worked if these stories were told at an earlier point in time.
Yeah, I mean, it's very obvious that as soon as the Doctor gets on the elevator, that's when we are supposed to be cutting away for the second part.
Yeah, definitely.
I mean, it's basically like, imagine this. That, Bad Wolf in Series 1, like, that's just a one-part, and when the Doctor sees the Daleks, he just sonics them and they all die. It's basically... that's basically what it is.
It's true.
Like, imagine Bad Wolf and the Partner of the Ways, except it was just Bad Wolf and it gets resolved at the end. Like, that's what the Power of 3 is, essentially.
Yeah, and I think Power of 3 is probably the perfect example of why 45 minutes is not enough for a Doctor Who story. Yeah. Because it is a good idea. It is well written. But they just have to rush it so badly, which just honestly, to me, ruins the entire story. And how do they not realize this? It's so obvious to anybody who looks at this shit and analyzes it. It just doesn't work.
Then Moffat was like, "Oh, we don't have enough budget." Yeah, that's the issue.
But actually, serializing your stories would give you way more budget, because you'd obviously be able to reuse sets and characters and costumes.
No, I've always said this is an idea. The fact that Series 9 was full of two-parters, some technicalities.
Yeah, well, those two-parters, for the most part, were abuses of the two-parters.
Yeah, no, I agree. But I think, like, Doctor Who could do something like double the amount of episodes, but have them be two-parters, so you're reusing everything. And that could just make... I don't know what you guys think of that, because I think sometimes in a series... too many episodes can be too much. I think, like, some of the Marvel series, I think it's Arrow has like 24 episodes of series, and people say it just drags on too long.
No, I agree. No, honestly, I'd be happy if they only did 3 stories a year, but they put all of their effort into these 3
like
stories.
Sherlock, then you want
apart from not like Sherlock, because that went a bit shit. But the point is, it'd just be all of their resources, all of their energy and passion would be going to these 3 stories. There would be no filler. There would be no things that didn't have effort put into. They would all be ideas that were properly developed. I guarantee the quality would go so much higher. It'd be really good. Because I don't care if we don't get many episodes a year. I just want quality. quality over
You
quantity.
could also do a
any
series
day.
of all two-parters, because Series 9 only failed because Moffat has stated he doesn't like two-parters, and if Moffat doesn't like the idea, he's going to half-ass
Well, I
it.
mean,
He's
he
not
doesn't.
gonna
He
be
said he
as-
didn't like writing for the Daleks. So I say, why the fuck did you write every Dalek story apart from one in your era? You fool.
Which I think he
didn't
only
write Victory.
gave off to what?
You didn't write Victory of the Daleks or Into the Daleks.
No, he
No,
co-wrote
he
it with
did.
the
He did. He
Daleks.
co-wrote it with Phil Ford. Yeah, Phil Ford.
Oh, well, he barely wrote.
Stephen Moffat, quote unquote, co-wrote a lot of the Series 8 episodes, but people just think that's because he included the Missy scenes.
No, I know. I think but from interviews from Moffat, he heavily edits most.
Oh
scripts
yeah.
that happen
He
to him.
co-wrote Time Heist. He co-wrote like 4 episodes in that series. So I'm like, what does it mean by he co-wrote this?
Yeah.
Did he actually?
Well, I mean, he probably did make a lot of changes because Stephen Moffat said that he made a lot of changes, and I can believe him because a lot of episodes, even though they're written by somebody completely different, have that Moffat tinge to them.
Yeah, no, I can get what you're saying.
And Time Heist is one of them. And I don't like Time Heist. People seem to give Time Heist a free pass, but it's
Boring.
your usual Steve Thompson bollocks, and he's one of my least favorite writers for Doctor Who.
I was gonna
He's never wrote anything approaching good.
I was gonna say something controversial about the guy, but like it's just gonna kick off, and then we're gonna be on the.
Right now, we can do Steve Thompson another time.
Yeah.
You'll obviously be welcome back on again, Brian. So we don't need to cover everything in this one appeal.
I know. That's why I didn't say anything. I'm not gonna.
Yeah, good. Right. So, final thoughts on the Power of Three before we move on to audience questions.
Easily the best Chibnall Doctor Who episode. I think it works really well, other than the ending. Although I do have to say one thing about the ending, that it does look really good. I like the makeup and set there.
Oh, the direction is excellent of Power 3. It looks
totally.
it looks good. Like, I would love to see that for 2 episodes, just because there's so much to flesh out.
It
Like,
could have been a classic. It could have been. It had
It
potential.
could have been that if it was 2 episodes and Chibnall wrote them both and it was a classic. I feel like people would be more confident with Chibnall.
Yeah. 'Cause I don't feel
Who,
like necessarily he doesn't have the potential to be great. I feel like he just hasn't been given a chance to show that particularly.
And I mean, people.
But I mean, I'm
'cause-
still not 100% sold on him, but I'm willing to give him a chance because I've seen that he does have the potential.
Well,
Potentially.
people always say Broadchurch, but just because you can write a different story, a showrunner story,
Broadchurch is a very, very different
genre.
thing from Doctor Who.
I don't know if we'll be talking about this at all, but the Series 11 writers that were just announced, people are getting excited over them because they have some pretty good track. But Doctor Who it's its own beast entirely. You cannot judge.
Well,
how
one of them
someone
has written a Doctor Who short story. Before.
Yeah, well, look at Robert Holmes. Other than Doctor Who, what the fuck has he wrote?
Yeah.
You don't have to be a great writer to write brilliant Doctor Who, and you're not necessarily going to write brilliant Doctor Who because you're a great writer. The only time I felt like somebody's came from other kind of fame and has done Doctor Who really well is like Richard Curtis. I know some people might say Douglas Adams, but he actually did Doctor Who before he kind of got big. But it's not a lot of writers. I feel it's better, honestly, to kind of have them not necessarily come from these very big backgrounds because that doesn't necessarily bring you to a brilliant Doctor Who episode. Because for the most part, all of the biggest Doctor Who writers haven't really done fuck all other than Doctor Who. But that's just my opinion.
Neil Gaiman.
They probably will write some good stories. Who knows? We'll see.
Can I say something commercial about the Power of Three? Sorry.
Sure.
Okay, I actually would have liked this to happen, and I know everyone is going to disagree with me and call me a hypocrite because of my thoughts on Twice Upon a Time. This is relevant. I would have actually liked the twist of the episode to be that the cubes weren't even dangerous and like there's no threat. The episode just ends.
I wouldn't have liked that.
I would have, to be honest, because it would have. I don't mean like just cuts to black. Like
it would have felt like we watched the Doctor arse around for 45 minutes.
Yeah, but it feels like a good character.
How much of my life have I wasted? Let's calculate the exact percentage of the life that I've wasted.
Yeah, but everything we like about the episode is nothing to do with the threat itself. That's what I
feel.
I like the idea of the threat. But
the thing is, we need the threat to be developed more because the build-up's developed. We need the actual threat that it introduces.
I think like working something like Twice Upon a Time because that's a finale story. I don't. I feel like this just a character piece. It could have worked.
Yeah, but I think I'll do to contradict you there is a show like Doctor Who needs conflict in its stories. There would be almost no conflict.
There are. For how many stories you can have so many different types, it doesn't all have to be the same. So I don't know. Maybe
I strongly disagree with what you said, but I respect your right opinion.
That's completely fair enough.
Anyway, so I think we're gonna finish on the Chibnall segment now. Just before we finish it, does anyone want to comment on like general Chibnallness? I mean, I think we've kind of already covered what we think about Azira, like how Azira might play out already. But if anybody's got anything further to say quickly before we end it, go on.
Okay, so are we not doing something yet?
I'm actually going to say his comments about Colin Baker are wrong.
That's not about his era. That's not about his era. That has yet to air.
Yeah, but I'm allowed to say it.
What did he say?
He basically said the show when Colin Baker came to the show got shit, and he did it in this was like at the time too.
Okay,
for one, the Davison era was much worse than the Colin Baker era, in my opinion. And for two, that sounds like you're blaming Colin Baker there when it wasn't really his fault. I don't even feel the show got bad.
He was also blaming Pip and Jane.
Well, they were shit writers, in fairness. He's not too far off the mark there.
People.
For the show.
Yeah, I mean, maybe it's a bit mean to them, but I can't. Like, Mark of the Rani's okay, but I despise Terror of the Vervoids and Time of the Rani.
No, I really.
And considering that was after Trial of a Time Lord just aired, you can understand why he might be a bit like, yeah. But you know, whatever. So anything else to say? Otherwise, I'm going to move on to audience questions.
What you just said there is exactly what happened.
Your mic's gone a bit shite again, Joey.
I can hear something in the background. I don't even know what it is.
Can you? Am I good?
Yeah, you're good now. Mic. No, that was Jacob, because Jacob's outside for some reason.
What you didn't realize, what you just said is exactly what happened. Like, Chris Chibnall met Pip and Jane Baker and went, ugh.
Well, that's not very nice.
He actually did.
I didn't know that.
It's a little bit harsh. Like, at least Moffat and Russ would have laughed. Were great.
Well, I mean, Moffat did, like... Well, I'll tell you one thing about Moffat. In a magazine interview in 1995, he said that all of the writers before the 80s were hacks.
Yeah, he's the only era worth watching. He's a Dave's era.
Anyway, so we're going to move on to audience questions now. And you can answer some audience questions by yourself remotely, because I need to go on a quick break. I'll be like 2 minutes. So feel free to look at the chat and answer some questions, and then I'll select questions myself onto that. That's okay. Right, see you in a minute.
Okay, so
I don't have access to... I don't have access to the chat.
Wait, okay.
I meant that I actually said. Anyway, yeah. So I got the chat in front of me. So he wants to speak to Joey Morgan, the best YouTuber. How large is Floyd's penis? The quality of the show depends. Chris Gershon's Yellow Tie interview on how he relates to Pip and Jane Baker. Yeah, totally. I agree with that. Do you think season 18 has a better story arc in the form of most of you? Maybe.
I'm not the only one not hearing what Joey's saying, right?
Right,
am I going crazy?
I'm just kind of mumbling to myself. All right. This is the most important comment right here from Life of Grace. Is Lord Slarr
Lord Slarr is having a poo. Say that around. Yeah, use up with your microphone. I can't.
Why is Jacob's microphone outside in his pocket? Who knows? That is the question.
Don't ask.
When will you become a leader? I don't know. That's up to you. You gotta give the leaders about that.
Who is that asking?
Okay, what the hell?
That's Jacob. That's Jacob talking through a tube. That's not me. Legacy of Time Thoughts. What are your Legacy of Time Thoughts?
Favorite Doctor Who poem parody? Doctor Who. It's gotta be.
Okay, Jacob. What are your Legacy of Time Thoughts?
Excited, in anticipation for it.
Through a tube.
You sound like the person from the Pyramids of Mars. Can't remember his name.
Which one?
Can't remember.
This is an important question. This is favorite Doctor Who porn parody.
Yeah, I answered that. I said Doctor Who.
All right. Have people, what atrocious things have people said then?
They asked us what my favorite Doctor Who porn parody was, and I said it was Doctor Who.
I'd have to. Oh God. Doctor Who's the only one I know, I'm afraid.
No,
Oh, wait, no, my favorite's Doctor Screw. There we go. I know two.
Just because it's got Skin Diamond in it, and she's bay, so you know.
I don't know. I've not watched them. All I know is that are based off the TARDIS posting memes. That's the
ones
extent
that
of my
I
knowledge.
What do you mean? Ones that I posted.
I mean, I know there's Doctor Screw and Doctor Who. That's about it.
What would you pick for your Blu-rays? What was your top pick for that?
What did you say?
For a Blu-ray release, it says.
A Blu-ray release? I don't know. So, I mean, it wouldn't be one of my favorite stories because my favorite stories don't necessarily need upscaling. Because most of my favorite stories are from the 60s. So, I don't know.
Talking about what season would you want them to do after season 1?
Well, honestly, even though it's not my favorite season 18, because it does look that good. It's one of the best looking seasons of Doctor Who ever. So a Blu-ray release would actually look really good for it. Whereas I feel with a lot of Doctor Who seasons, it just looks shite.
Also, can I mention?
I also think that with season 7 and season 8, they could do some good stuff on Blu-ray with that.
How is your shit?
I did not have a shit, and my poo was nor mushy nor hard because I did not have a poo. If I did have a poo, that was an amazingly quick shit, and I'd be proud of doing one that fast. I would show off to the world.
Watching the stream, private messaged me and said that all the episodes are 60 minutes, but I can't confirm that.
Right. Well, I mean, I'm very happy if that's true, but I'll have to search it up later.
Okay. No, it's all episodes are 50 minutes. I've got sources on that.
All right.
If I ever make another animation about you, what do you want to be in it? I mean, honestly, your animations absolutely terrify me and make me want to commit suicide. So maybe me committing suicide to one of your animations, make it very meta. There we go.
Do you guys agree that you would want to bang Victoria?
Bang who?
Victoria.
Victoria? Well, I mean, she's dead, so I'm not a necrophile.
About series 11.
What? You sound like a boiled egg man again.
It says, what are your concerns about series 11?
Concerns? Well, the fact that Chibnall said it was quirky and fun. Because if you're describing your own show as quirky and fun, you're trying a bit too hard.
Could you say that about the Tom Baker era, though? I don't know.
No, I'm just saying, you shouldn't talk about your own show. Ooh, my show is quirky and fun. It's that's for the audience to decide, mate.
I guess.
My also concern is that honestly, it's just...
I don't have any concerns, just because Moffat has driven me to have such low expectations from Doctor Who. Anything that's not complete and utter shit, I like. And even if it's shit, at least it'll be a new kind of shit for me to analyze, because over the past 7 years, I've been pointing out the exact same flaws and the exact same problems over and over and over again. It will be a relief to have something new to criticize. Even if it, I hope it's good, but even if it's shit, at least I'll have that. At least I'll have that
Dylan,
one
what you're saying
thing.
is the Moffat era is the model of insanity. Because it's
doing the same. Driven me insane.
Well, it's doing the same things, expecting different results.
I mean, maybe BBC are playing the long game here. They've driven our expectations so far down. We're like, holy shit, this is brilliant.
So it says, is Dimensions in Time canon?
Madam, what year is this? That's all I've got to say.
2000.
Okay, you mentioned I'm actually triggered.
Yeah, no, I mean, nothing's really canon because Doctor Who's inconsistent as fuck anyway. So why even bother canon? Just consider canon whatever you want to be canon because it's all inconsistent anyway. So just whatever you like. If you like Dimension Time, all one of you, go ahead. But you're an idiot for liking Dimensions in Time. That's all I got to say.
No, you're an imbecile. That's what.
Oh, Dylan, what's your thoughts on the Legacy of Time announcement?
Oh, I'm quite excited for it. Mostly, I'm actually strangely most excited for the River Song Bernice.
You know what? There's one thing I've got to say about that, which you might sound a bit odd come for me. I'm a bit disappointed there's no New Who Doctors in it. I would have liked to have seen David Tennant interacting with some of the classic Doctors. It would have been quite interesting.
No, let's be honest. Tennant is probably in episode 4.
He's not on the cover. They would put him on the cover if he was in it because that would sell instantly a bazillion more copies.
Who do you want to see write for Doctor Who? TV and Big Finish that never written for this show before.
Pardon?
Honestly, Nick Briggs.
Oh, what? Somebody who's not written for the TV show before?
Yeah.
I
want to see Gary Russell write.
There's too many writers I'd want to see. Lance Parkin, Simon Gurrier, John Dorney, Jacqueline Rayner, Matt Fitton. They'd all be good ones. And Johnny Morris as well, yeah. All of those would be good ones. I mean, but they're all Big Finish writers. So should we think of somebody who's not Big Finish, perhaps?
Jacob, this is a question for you.
Kate Orman.
Oh, sorry.
I'd love to see Kate Orman, the novel writer, write the show.
Somebody who's never wrote for Doctor Who. Can we think of anybody?
Never written for Doctor Who.
I mean, to be fair, most of my knowledge
is
just Doctor Who, so that's difficult. But,
I think Steve.
well, I mean, it's either Doctor Who or classic television. For the most part, all of those writers are dead. So, I would love Nigel Neal to write an episode, but he's 10 years past, so it's not really going to happen, is it?
I would have loved Terry Pratchett to write Doctor Who, even though he's dead.
This says, have you ever read any of the PDAs, EDAs, or VNAs? There's a website on Who Wiki that has every book in PDF format.
What did you say? Can you repeat that, please, Joey? Your microphone's gone a bit crap again.
Have you read any of the PDAs, EDAs, or VNAs?
Right, I have only read one VNA. That is Iceberg, and I've listened to Cold Fusion, and I've read quite a few PDAs. My favourite Doctor Who book ever is The Witch Hunters. That's a brilliant novel. It's only £1 on Amazon, so I highly recommend to everybody out there, go buy it. It's one of the most intense and beautifully written Doctor Who books ever. My heart was genuinely racing while reading it on the way home on the bus. It is that good. It's worth it. Go buy it. I haven't read any EDAs, though.
I'm currently reading the VNAs in order. I just finished Night Shift. I'm currently reading the Living World.
You might want to sort out your mic, Joey, mate.
What?
You might want to sort out your mic.
What do you mean?
I've read the VNAs. I'm trying to get into the EDAs and PDAs. I just haven't had time. Did that come through?
Yeah, that went through. No, Joey's the one with a shit mic at the moment.
No, I'm good.
Am I good? Yeah, you're better now. Ryan, have you read any of the Doctor Who books?
No, I'm illiterate.
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, they all are from bloody Liverpool.
Oh, thanks for that. I appreciate
it.
So I'm Northern as well, so I'm allowed to be discriminatory.
Yeah, we're the quarantine zone of the North, so...
Yeah, I mean, at least you're actually Northern and say you're Northern. There's nothing worse than people from Coventry oh yeah, I'm Northern. It's you're poxy Southerner. Bugger off.
Don't even call yourself Southern either, you're Midlands.
But Coventry, I mean, it's basically the South. Come on. It's on the same latitude as Worcestershire. Anything lower down than Wales can just fuck off, then you're not the North.
Some of my friends who are from really down south see it's proper low Midlands as the North because they're just that far south.
Yeah, somebody was trying to tell me that Sheffield was really far north. I was fuck off.
Oh, Jacob, so since we were just talking about books and before Dylan forces us to move on, do you want to shill out our adaptations?
Oh, go on, shill
yes.
the shit out of your shit.
May I?
Yeah.
Yes, please. Hello, Joey and I are mainly working on adaptations of the VMA. Did not do. Starting with Time on Genesis, episode 1 is out. Go to Briarheart O2's channel. And then subscribe to myself and Joey Morgan for the further ones, because Brian helped us with the first one. He sadly has to step down due to personal commitment. But yeah. So and expect Exodus, expect part 2 later, early next month, and part 3 following that. Yeah.
Yes.
Right. So just to answer some of the comments, I'm Canadian. This is very confusing. Basically, there's a big divide between the North and South in this country. And the reason is the North is the areas that Margaret Thatcher utterly trashed and ruined. And the South is the areas that all of the money from the North was siphoned off to make them rich.
And that's a nice simplification. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I am joking. But
I know.
Half joking.
No,
I do despise Thatcher.
You do like Mark Gatiss, a Thatcher writing thing.
I mean, I live in a village that used to have lots of mines in, so of course I hate Thatcher. So, but whatever. Let's not get into politics because
I know
it's probably not a good idea because this is not a politics YouTube channel. Maybe I do want to make a politics YouTube channel someday, but not here.
Not today.
You also have two Yanks on who don't really know at all.
Release date for part 2 by the way, is what is it? September 15th. So that is when that will be coming in. It's going to be a
Joey, you need to sort out your mic.
What is wrong with my mic?
Joey was saying that the second episode of Time Warp Genesis will be out on the 15th of September, according to. Really good, mostly.
And just to reply, Jerry, ding dong, the witch is dead, motherfucker. Right, okay, so any more questions, just quickly, and then we're going to move on to season 18. Then after that, there's going to be a quiz, and then it's going to be like little chat before the end of the show.
You're gonna force me to talk about season 18. Could we just keep answering questions for the rest of the live stream?
So Finley Wade's comment.
I'm not answering that, Matt.
What did he say?
What is your favorite Doctor? William Hartnell.
Favorite Doctor is the third Doctor.
Finley Wade asked who was your favorite new series Doctor.
Oh, well, the favorite new series Doctor, Chris Eccleston by far, because he just has the most.
If you guys all play
I
will be like, you are just basic bitches.
I like Capaldi.
I can't stand Capaldi. His character is so inconsistent.
Lord Slarr knows who mine is, but I'm wondering if you two can guess. Oh no, you already said it, didn't you?
I already said it. It's spoilers.
Is it Smith?
Spoilers.
It's Smith.
Yeah, it's Matt Smith.
Thoughts on Rose as a companion? She's a horrible cow with massive claws. I mean, come on. So look how mean she was to Sarah Jane. What a bitch.
Rose would probably be the worst companion of the show.
I would say that at least, even if she was a bitch, that was her character. Like, Clara just didn't have a character.
Favorite Doctor's costume? Naked Matt Smith.
Oh, yeah, no, that's absolutely big material.
No, I think probably the best Doctor's costume would be one of John Pertwee's. John Pertwee has got
one out of 20. One out of his 20 bloody costumes.
Yeah, I'd say probably my favourite one is the one he wears in Planet of the Daleks, which is actually in Twice Upon a Time. It's hung up
interesting
during the regeneration, because Mark Gatiss had the original costume and he brought it on set and said, wouldn't it be funny if we put this on like the little curtain stand? And they actually did it. So in Peter Cullen's Regeneration, you can see the original coat that John Pertwee wore for Planet of the
Daleks. My favourite.
Let's be honest, Mark Gatiss is great.
My favorite costume is the McCoy brown, his survival costume.
Yeah, I mean, I don't like the question mark best.
I go with
the Time and the Barney one.
I go with the McCoy TV movie.
Controversial opinion here. McCoy's TV movie costume is his best one.
I disagree. It removes some of the things that made the original costume great. It's not terrible, but it's a little.
I mean, to be fair, I mainly just like it for its hair. It's like poof, as McCoy's hair should be.
Okay, fair enough. I like his brown jacket in season 26.
Yeah, and it's to symbolize how much darker he is now.
Dun, dun, dun.
Right, so we're going to move on to season 18 now. No, it's Jacob. It's too late. It's season 18 time. It's Joey's favorite time of the year.
Okay.
It's time for the Leisure Hive. And I think it's only right we let season 18's biggest fan, Joey Morgan, start. What is your thoughts on the Leisure Hive?
Okay, so it's literally one of the worst Doctor Who stories ever. Like, nobody can refute it. It is an awful
K9 fucking drowns.
Good. Okay. Oh my god, it's so bad. Okay, so like, I'm just gonna open this. I feel no need to talk for the rest of this season 18 discussion. As you may have seen, I grabbed my my DVDs from my shelf. Leisure Hive is terrible, one of the worst stories ever. So was Megloss. Eat this trash. This is
wait, one at a time. No, we're starting with Leisure Hive.
Over with now. This is trash. This is actually pretty good, and this one's okay, I guess. I'm done. I'm not talking for the rest of this.
No, you are talking, or else.
Or else.
Can I have a go? Because I actually like the Leisure Hive.
What? Okay, Jacob. Look, not a season 18 hitter here, but that is a bit off the rails. It's a bit too much. It's a bit too PG for this child-friendly, because Leisure Hive is not child-friendly. Because when I was a child and I watched it, it traumatized me by how fucking boring it was.
Oh.
I don't think it's that boring. I think it's got some interesting ideas.
Literally, the only good thing about Leisure Hive is that it looks beautiful. Because it does look beautiful.
No, it doesn't. It does not. No. Oh my god.
Leisure Hive looks really nice. It's very well directed.
Outside of the first shot, it's because let's be honest, that first shot is crap.
Well,
it goes on for like 2 minutes.
Oh, it's lovely. I love the practical effects. Ooh.
Oh my god.
Yeah,
okay, wait. So of course now, Ark is coming in the chat to tell you how great season 18 apparently is. Okay. Yes. Let's call out. Okay. Well, all the other people who said season 18 is good because it's not.
I hate the Leisure Hive and I haven't even watched it. You know what, Life Upgrade? Your life will not be an upgrade if you watch the Leisure Hive. So just hate it and leave it at that. No point.
I like some of the ideas it plays with. Though I feel like some of the humor was taken out, which doesn't help.
I can't do Leisure Hive. I can't stand it. It's so boring. I mean, what actually goes on in Leisure Hive? What actually goes on?
A bunch of trade deals, actually.
Yeah, and trade deals. What everybody wants to see.
Oh, is this the Star Wars prequels?
Yeah, I mean, it's not like there's the mafia going on like, yo, we're gonna make some trade. There's nothing to make it entertaining like that. It's just.
The whole point is that the Fomazi are supposed to be the mafia, though it doesn't really come across. And there's the whole mad scientist plot that really should have been put more to the forefront if you want to make it a good, solid story. But I don't hate the Leisure Hive.
So I like the fact that season 18 was just called one of J&T's strongest series when he had little to do with it. It was
the reason why it was one of the strongest series is because Barry Letts had a lot to do with it.
It's not one of his strongest series though. It's so bad.
Oh, it's not bad. Come on.
It's so bad.
I mean, it's not perfect, but it was a welcome change of pace and brought a very strong sense of style to a Doctor Who that I felt was losing its style by season 17.
It just did the Matt Smith thing where they realized that his Doctor had literally nothing to him, so they said, "Hey, let's just make him really edgy."
You actually do this. Wow.
No, I mean, Tom Baker, definitely not the best part of season 18. For me, it's A, how everything looks beautiful and it's well directed, and B, I like the very weird tone they went for. It's a lot different than any other season of Doctor Who, and for that reason alone, it's always nice to watch it just for a change of pace. But not the Leisure Hive, because Leisure Hive is shit. But should move on to Megloss. There's nothing else to say about Leisure Hive other than it's fucking boring and Jacob likes it because he's a twat.
It is so boring.
Right, so
I say
Megloss,
I don't like it. I say I don't hate it.
Oh well, you're still a twat.
Even Jacqueline Hill is kind of in it.
Well, yeah, we're talking about Megloss now. Have you seen Megloss, Ryan?
No.
No, you haven't.
I was just going to say, I've only seen The Keepers of Track and Logopolis, so I have no idea if I should just leave at this point.
Okay, but that's all right. Just hang around. We'll involve you at Keep a Trot and Logopolis.
I think Meglos suffers from it needed a second script editing.
It needed so it felt so much like a first draft. The episodes are really short, and it just kind of like it goes by really fast, but it just goes in one ear and comes out the other, and I don't feel like I got anything out of it. Not anything. I just watched it. And I was like, oh shit, that's over. I didn't really.
There's some decent humor. There's some decent double play from Brodadak and the other guy, the main leader guy, about the Doctor's coat. Meglos is actually a really fun villain and a fun idea for the villain. I feel like the Earthling needed more development as just as a character, and obviously they had about 5 minutes for each episode that they could have added on and actually given some development. Slip some development in. This is oddly enough not. It's sort of a 45-minute syndrome. When you actually didn't even get to the full 45 minutes.
Brian is apparently a fan of Meglos's spiky green penis.
And apparently it's not gay.
Brian.
No, that is very gay.
No, it's very lesbian. Remember, Brian's the butch lesbian.
Oh, well, he is. But we're not going to say that on air, like the reason behind that, because that would be very rude. Anyway, so...
No.
Yeah, does anybody have anything to say about Meglos? Because I can't really say anything about it, because it just went...
It needs more drafts. It needed more drafts. Like, it's funny, because Full Circle, what comes after, is really good. And that was written by a teenager.
Yeah. Okay, it just... Yeah. I don't know what to say about it. It's probably the most forgettable episode of Doctor Who ever. There is nothing to it.
Yeah, there was 97 Doctor Who.
Also, it wastes Romana. She doesn't have anything to do in the story.
Yeah, especially considering this is like, just before she goes into E-Space, which is obviously where she leaves.
So those 97 episodes that I was just talking about? I feel like we need approximately 28 more. Just to spice
Joey.
To spice things up a bit, I feel like I got the perfect 28 of them right now that we really don't need anymore.
Joey, stop being such a salty bastard.
Right. Yeah, so should we move... Oh, wait, Ryan's gone. Oh.
Yeah, I was about to say that. Where did he go?
Don't know. Where's he gone?
I don't know.
Oh, well, I'll try inviting him back.
Shall we move on to Full Circle while we try to get him back?
Yeah, no, move on to Full Circle. You talk while I'm kind of trying to get him back.
All right, Full Circle does a really good job of introducing Adric, outside of some minor acting quibbles of the rather large cast of children. Really young actors in this story. Location footage is amazing. It deals with the whole idea of the CV and E-Space is really well done. Also just really an interesting sort of, was this possible? It sort of shakes things up for 3 episodes. I'm glad we're actually getting a little more time in E-Space with Big Finish next, because I feel like the trilogy itself, it feels like Doctor and Romana are like trapped in it for a long time. I think the idea of the Marshmen is a really good idea. The idea of, oddly enough, it does an idea that the mutants did in the Pertwee era, but does it very well because it does it in 4 episodes.
Think about it, but I'd actually forgotten about this, but it is a bit of a rip-off of the mutants, isn't it? It's drawing off the exact same idea that one went for.
But it does it better.
It does do it better, for sure. And it is a decent episode. It's written well. I enjoy it. But, yeah.
The characters are
I don't know. I can't really say it's a great one, particularly, because it doesn't have that oomph. It's very difficult to describe. And it kind of rips off the mutants. But, it's good. Sure. Definitely.
It's good. Not only is it good, it also shows that a teenager can write a decent story. It can be derivative of another story, and you not even notice it's derivative. Cough, cough. Christopher Paolini, I hate you.
Who?
Too bad.
an author who got his 500-page fantasy epic at the age of 15.
Jesus. I would not want something I wrote at the age of 15 published.
It's Star Wars with dragons, which is a shame because then the two of the sequels are actually decent, like outside of being derivative, and then because he obviously shows he has potential as a writer, but then he let it get to his head for the fourth one. Like I have entire words. There's a reason I want to start reviewing books because it's yeah. I'm gonna leave it at that.
I like the spelling error here. Full Circle has a fascinating story where the monsters are colonists from yeets ago. Yeet. Colonizing Pterodon. Yeet. Wait, that's the name of the planet, isn't it?
Well, it's Alzarius.
I don't give a shit. I'm just trying to remember lines from Full Circle. That's really all I know about the early JNT era. Sorry, not from Earthshock. Did I say Earthshock? I don't know. Doesn't matter.
No, I'm good.
Jacob, getting all the ladies.
Alright, anyway.
Oh no. Look, Reflex, do not start that again. Do not start that again. That's all I'm saying. I'm not telling you what he said because otherwise people are going to do it, but do not.
So shall we move on to State of Decay?
Yeah, let's move on to State of Decay.
Fire here, just keep doing it and people will catch on.
Right.
Joey, you like State of Decay.
And yeah,
I know you like State of Decay.
Yeah, it's written by Uncle Terrence. Me and Bowie decided let's write a story about vampires.
Certainly okay.
In 1976, and then it finally got published in 1981.
Oh, I love Terrence. What a lad. But this story, it's all right. I mean, not a massive fan, but it works.
It does the whole Adrian thing very well.
Yeah.
It's kind of weird. State of Decay's biggest actual problem nowadays is that it has so many other great vampire Doctor Who stories to be compared to. So there's nothing too incredibly
I haven't read or heard those vampire stories particularly, so other than Vampires of Venice, which admittedly the State of Decay is better than.
But I mean, it's good. I mean, it's kind of gothic, but it doesn't have gothic. It's just kind of dark at times. The ending's a bit gruesome, but that's probably the best thing about it is the way all the vampires die. That's about it. Nothing too amazing.
Yeah, it's not a bad story.
It's dripping with atmosphere. It's really good at building atmosphere. Even though I hate the director, I hate the guy who directed it because he directed 5 Doctors and Twin Dilemma and 2 Doctors and just sort of has no idea how to frame. He doesn't know how to frame a shot. One
thing I will say is while all of the costume designs for the gothic feel are very good, just the music kind of ruins the gothic feel for me. I think if there's one lesson JNT needs to learn is that synth is not the answer to everything. And in fact, he did learn it because by the McCoy era, he was getting in different kind of sounds for each story. But synth does not work for gothic. It sounds really, really shite.
Dylan, full circle or full square?
No, just fuck off. No. This is not happening. I refuse to accept this is happening again.
Season.
It's already happening in the chat.
Right, Warriors Gate is one of the prettiest episodes of Doctor Who. And I can't really say anything else about it because it's just weird, but it's very, very pretty.
It also doesn't have a plot.
The reason why all of it's white is because I came all over it in excitement by how beautiful it is.
It also doesn't have a plot.
Yeah, well, lots of things don't have plots, Jacob, and you're not even inside. You're outside, so there.
My point still stands.
Yeah, well...
Keeper of Traken's good.
We're still talking about Warriors Gate. I mean, I don't really have much to say about it, to be honest.
Yeah.
It's just I honestly don't really get it. Not gonna lie.
And it's not like Ghostlight where there are things to get. Like this
Yeah,
is,
I
it's
understand
sort of
Ghostlight, just for context. I understand
Yeah,
Ghostlight.
like-
So, and to be fair, you have to have a really high IQ to understand Ghostlight.
God
No,
damn.
you don't. You just sort of you just have to pay attention. This one, there's
Yeah.
nothing there. It's like
Yeah, but
slavery
I enjoy
is
it
bad,
because
I guess.
it looks pretty. So take that for what you will. It's all right. I mean, yeah, no plot, but whatever. It's artsy. It's got some entertainment. I really can't say anything about it, can I? That's the problem with season 18. Most of its stories are just like so weird. I just can't think of anything to say about it.
Terrible.
And you know me, I can go on tangents about so many Doctor Who episodes. There's just so little to say about this. Oh,
Shall we
well.
move on to Keeper of Traken then? 'Cause
Yeah, I can
there's-
actually say something about Keeper of Traken. Thank you, Johnny Byron, is that how you pronounce it? You wrote a story that I can actually talk about.
Yeah. That Dylan hasn't washed my wool because.
Oh wait, you can talk about it. I'm just getting Brian back in.
Okay.
Well,
Oh.
let's be honest. Jeffrey Beavers is in it. He's amazing.
I think Keeper of Traken is actually the only really good story in season 18, and it really did show. It's got a really nice story to it. The idea of Planet and the characters.
Oh, no, sorry. Just somebody said Rick and Morty fans are the only people who understand Ghostlight.
I think Keeper of Traken.
Like Rick and Morty. No, but Traken is great. It deals with the whole themes of entropy of the well, of like that things are falling apart.
And Anthony Ainley as Tremus is really good. I love him.
Yeah, he actually managed. It's surprising somebody who plays somebody evil so effortlessly manages to play somebody who's quite nice very well.
Like he's Ainley can be really fatherly. Like you believe that he is Nissa's father, and Nissa is good because this is the point where she's a one-off character, and they have the characterization,
and also she's got a slightly better costume, because I have to say those trousers she wears in season 19 are awful, but the skirt looks actually all right. It makes the costume a bit less. But yeah, no, Keeper of Traken. It's a brilliant story. It's got a very kind of fairy tale kind of thing to it, and a very odd kind of. It's a very odd kind of planet. Like it's not very similar to anything we've ever seen before or since in Doctor Who, and I quite like that. It's something that's very, very different, and it tells a very good story. Maybe not something that's too far out there, but I don't know. It's just a great story for the Master, and I love the Melker. Melker's very good in it. Yeah, no, it's brilliant one. It's brilliant on this track.
Here, this says, "I love the way Beavers into Tremus."
Yeah, well, that's a bit kinky.
Yeah, exactly. That's good. Good double meaning.
Yeah, no, I do like Beavers, but he definitely hones his performance a bit more in Big Finish.
He also does the ranty stuff really well.
Yeah.
I was trying to get Brian back. Brian. Yeah, also, just to respond to some comments in the chat, even though I prefer Beavers by far, actually, when you count Big Finish, but if we were just counting TV performances, I'd actually have to say Peter Pratt was better.
Yeah.
He just sounds so evil in The Deadly Assassin, the way Beavers doesn't quite manage.
I think I actually enjoy Anthony Ainley as Tremus more than I enjoy his performance as the Master, because he's a better original character.
Well, I think maybe that's to do with the fact that Keeper of Traken is actually a good story. And other than Logopolis and Survival, what the fuck story was Anthony Ainley in that was actually any good?
5 Doctors?
Oh, okay, yeah, but to be fair, he played a pretty minor role in that.
Yeah, and same thing with Ultimate Foe. Poe is good,
Planet
but
of
like
Fire is good.
Nah,
Ooh,
it's
yeah.
all right. And so is Castrovalva. It's
I think he's
all
actually
right,
pretty good.
but it's, you know. Can we all,
No, I think-
somebody
I think-
says, can we all agree that Eric Roberts is the worst master? No, Michelle Gomez is, and then John Sims second. So
Which
there.
is a shame
Johnson's
because
the
Michelle Gomez has and John Sim have the potential to be amazing masters.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, the thing is, I don't dislike John Sims much anymore because he was actually quite good in Series 10. And if it was just his Series 10 forms we were counting, he'd actually be a pretty decent master. Even though he was completely underused and misused, he was still like a good master.
Isn't it?
And
Isn't it obvious
Michelle Gomez
that
is just
Jeffrey
utterly
Beavers
awful,
is
especially in
the
Series
worst?
10.
Jeffrey Beavers is the worst master because he only had one appearance? I mean, come on, you can use the same logic when it comes to Paul McGann's trash doctor.
Shall we move on to Logopolis and close out?
Oh, so you're running this live stream, I see.
Jacob, what are you doing?
Nothing.
Right, so
You're the same thing you do-
Logopolis. Right, so Logopolis.
Yeah.
What a brilliant story. It's a bit of an odd one to have as a Doctor's final story, but I just like the way
Oh.
it throws so many interesting ideas at the wall, and lots of them stick, and it does a lot of really good things. Like, I really like the concept of entropy. I've never seen Doctor Who really get as scientific as this one. It's very high concept as this one. It's very good.
It's also very good
It's a
at
very
building
interesting
this.
one to watch, and the stakes get really high, but in a believable way. Like in New Who, where it's like the universe is in danger again, I don't feel the stakes are that high because A, it hasn't had enough time to develop it, and B, because the stakes are that high all the time, it's just like, you know, I know this by now. Whereas actually saving the universe was a really rare thing in Classic Who. To kind of have it here, you actually feel the stakes being that high, and it does develop up to the point where you're like, yeah, I can believe this because it kind of the theories based on like the theories it's talking about that make the universe in peril have been built up properly. So I can kind of be
So
like, oh yeah, oh shit,
And,
people die.
they're also
It's
kind
brilliant.
of accurate. Like, there's eventually going to be a heat death of the universe. Like,
Yeah.
eventually, everything's gonna fall apart.
Yeah.
Also, I'd argue that the direction helps with the atmosphere.
Oh,
creating
totally.
the threat. Because, like, unlike New Who, say, End of Time, where you have everything big, bombastic, and self-aware, this one knows to go close and sort of make it more quiet. The universe isn't ending with a bang; it's ending with a whimper.
So I disagree. Logopolis is pretty bad. It's pretty boring. Interesting enough for the story.
I can't hear you, Joey.
Okay, so I was saying I have to disagree. Logopolis has some interesting ideas, but CRISPR media isn't as strong to make them work effectively. Kind of, but it's not the best thing. So, yeah.
I can understand why somebody wouldn't like this episode, mainly because I used to not like it. But I don't know. I really enjoy the kind of the high concepts and the way it manages. It actually managed to make up the end of the universe plot actually believable, which I think most Doctor Who stories which do this, oh, the universe might end if the Doctor doesn't save it, they never really seem believable to me. But the way in which this uses high concepts and science and builds it up quite well over the course of the story, it makes it believable. Whereas I couldn't believe it on like others in other stories where this is done. So I think that's quite impressive, and that has to be why it's, you know, a really, really good story. And, you know, even though a bit of an odd one to kind of have as a Doctor's final one, still a great way to send Tom Baker out, who was a great Doctor.
Oh, and the music is good too.
Yeah, no, it's got really good music.
Like, I
just
love-
to say,
I love
Brian is
regeneration
not
music.
coming back on the stream because his internet is completely fucked up. So it's just gonna be you two for the quiz.
Okay. How long is the quiz?
It's only 10 questions.
Okay, cool. Because
So I'm planning to cap
I
this
actually
in
have
2 hours, which will be in 15 minutes.
Cool, because I have to go. I'm at college. I only have a set hours where I can go get dinner.
Yeah, no, that's fine. That's fine. Right. So anything else? Anything else to say about season 18? Well, just kind of final thoughts on season 18. You can kind of just do a big wrap up. Take as long as you like, because, you know, it's quite.
No.
There's a lot of changes about the season.
Wrong. It's a bad season. Go away.
Is that all you have to say? Nothing else?
I'd say
Yeah.
it's underrated. Like people seem to hate it, like certain Joey Morgans, when really it doesn't deserve it. It's very
does.
experimental. Some stories, I think, even at its worst, it tries to get something interesting done.
Yeah, definitely. I feel like there was a lot of kind of very lazy scripts in the few seasons before season 18. Whereas I feel like JNT was, well, not just JNT, but JNT, Barry Less, etc. Kind of very much were trying to pump out at least something, that's clearly had some effort put into it, each story. But my opinion on it, on the whole, is that I really like what it tried to do. It didn't all pay off, but that's the nature of being experimental. And Doctor Who should be an experimental show. And while it doesn't work all the time, sometimes it really pays off. And it did at the end of the season with the Keeper of Draken and Logopolis. And it looked a really pretty season. It's one of the best looking seasons of Doctor Who. I mean, they really concentrate on getting really good directors and really good practical effects in this one. It's gorgeous. And
I think also it did really good at a theme of the season too.
Yeah, and it really managed to overcome the kind of staleness that started to eep into Doctor Who by just completely changing everything up. And it took a completely different tone. They experimented with all kinds of weird stories. And other than the Leisure Hive, there's something to watch in all of them, just because they're all so odd and different from a lot of things you'll usually see in Doctor Who. It's quite good to see that.
Though I'd even say give the Leisure
It's
Hive
a shame
because
that
you might like it.
And it's a shame that rather than learning from the good things that they did in this season, instead they just repeated the bad things they did from this season for almost the entire Davison era, and what we got was a bunch of very somber, straight-faced, boring stories. Because that was the bad side of season 18. Very straight-faced, boring stories. And that's what we got for the majority of the Davison era, in my opinion, unfortunately. Sure, there's a few good episodes, but I feel for the most part, they kind of learn they kind of take from season 18 what shouldn't have been taken from season 18 rather than what should have been taken. And maybe that's partially to do with the loss of Chris Bidmead as script editor, as I think that he was probably a prime driver behind that, being very kind of high concept and interested in all sorts of kind of sciencey stuff himself. I feel like he helped a lot in making that season what it was. And his loss kind of made that. I do really like Eric Saywood, but Chris Bidmead is what made season 18 special. And there's not a season like it. I like it. It's nowhere near my favorite season, but I really appreciate it for what it is and what it does. And I'd like another season like it, because Doctor Who needs to experiment more, and season 18 is an example of go ahead. And you can see what works when you experiment. Shame they didn't learn the lessons of what worked, but you could potentially do that.
Okay.
Right, anything else to say before we move on to the quiz?
You're all wrong. Go on.
All right, so it is quiz time, and unlike the last time we had a live stream, I'm not going to put the answer at the corner of the screen by accident. If no, it's because I did the picture screen quiz, but because I was screen sharing rather than posting them in the chat, it had like the name of the file in the top left-hand corner, and sometimes the picture I downloaded would have had the title of the story in. Yeah.
That's hilarious.
Anyway, so question 1. So there's 10 questions here. In which 2 Doctor Who stories does David Garfield play a character? And there's bonus points if you can name the characters. Go. David Garfield.
I've got nothing.
Robots of Death is one of them, maybe?
Nope.
Or am I thinking David Bale?
You're in the right kind of ballpark, though, with Robots of Death. Right, okay, I don't think you two know this. I don't think you two know this actor.
No, I don't know. I have never heard of David Garfield.
Well, I mean, he's not a very well-known actor, but, he's quite good in both the Doctor Who episodes he's in, so that's why I find him memorable. So he's in the War Games as Von Wyk, you're in the British Army, Private Moore, that person. But then he plays Neve in The Face of Evil. He's the one who's like, the priest guy of the 17.
He's really good, actually.
Yeah, no, he's a brilliant actor. It's a shame. I mean, I don't know. I haven't read his filmography, but I hope he's in some good stuff because he's a really good actor.
He's probably in a bunch of 60s and 70s TV shows.
Yeah, he's probably in a bunch of cheesy movies. I imagine a lot of these actors are.
Yeah, he's probably in The Avengers. And
what is the total?
Saint.
Right, number 2. There's no point so far. What is the total number of individual episodes in which Jamie is a companion?
Oh shit!
Is a companion or appears?
Is a companion. So the 5 Doctors doesn't count because he's only a ghost in that.
Which is the Highlanders count?
Of course, the Highlanders counts because he's in it.
Okay, well, use it as a companion because he only joins at the end of that story. Okay.
16, 20.
You're literally just having us do math.
69.
No, you're way off. This is individual episodes. So, Highlanders has 4 episodes.
Yeah, no, wait. Oh, shoot. Let's see. Let's see. 42.
It's over 100.
Oh, right. 88, 84. I'm trying to do the math in my head, and it's really difficult. Trying to think.
This is a bit of a cruel one.
Oh my god,
it is very cruel. Is it 106?
Oh my god, you're so close. But not that close, but still you're close. Nope. And I did count this, I counted this twice just to make sure I was right. So.
123.
No, okay, that's too far.
118.
Nope.
117.
Nope.
119.
Nope.
112.
Nope.
116.
Yeah, that's right. Was that Jacob who said that?
Yeah, it was Jacob.
Right, Jacob gets a point then. Okay, so who was originally the first choice to replace William Hartnell as the Doctor?
Oh god, I know this.
He's a very, very famous actor. No, it wasn't.
Oh my god, I know this. I can't think of it.
Laurence Olivier?
No.
Oh god. I'm so mad that I can't think of it.
Cyril Cusick?
Nope.
Something Grant?
Nope. Go on, Joey. I know you know it.
No. Oh my god. Because he was never in a Doctor Who story, right? He never did.
Oh no, he is in a Doctor Who story.
He is. Okay.
What Doctor Who story?
Well, I mean, you'll know it the moment I tell you the Doctor Who story. It's in the 80s, though. He's not who you'd expect would actually play a good Doctor. But that's only because he has a reputation that he only gained later on that he didn't have in the 60s. And he played a lot more kind of subtler roles back then, which would have made him a bit more... Which you can kind of understand why he might have been a Doctor. It might have been a good choice back then. It seems a little weird now because he's got a bit of a different reputation than he used to have.
Jacob is looking it up right now. I know it. Bastard.
No, I'm not.
Right. Okay. I'm gonna give you a few more seconds. I'm gonna have to just tell you.
Patrick McNee.
No. Clearly, I've made this quiz too hard. It's Brian Blessed.
Oh Jesus! You know what? I knew that. Why did that name not come to me?
Yeah. Why didn't you? He was originally the first choice, but he declined the role.
Brian Blessed. I'm sorry. I can't imagine anything other than shouting Brian Blessed.
But I mean,
it's impossible.
If you've ever seen I, Claudius, you can see that Brian Blessed can actually play different roles than Shouty Man quite well. Right, so just to move swiftly on, since we're getting a bit pressed for time now, who plays Sylvester McCoy's stunt double in Remembrance of the Daleks?
Oh, Jacob's gonna know this.
I don't know this.
Oh, you don't?
This was a bit of a meme, though, amongst our friend group for a while. He has quite an amusing name.
Tipping.
Yes, that's the one. 2 to Jacob.
Yeah, I think he's gonna win this because I'm not gonna know these at all.
All right. So, which 3 aliens were voiced by Peter Halliday?
The Silurians.
Yep.
The ambassadors from the Ambassadors of Death.
Yep. There's one more. If Joey gets this, you'll both get a point.
Is it still in the Third Doctor's era,
No.
or am I off?
It's not. No, it's not.
I know those two, but no,
It's really
Is the
obvious.
aliens in Colony in Space?
No, it isn't. It's so obvious. Like, you will kick yourself if you don't get this. I mean, I'll still give you the point if nobody gets it, but I'm going to give Joey a point as well if he manages to get it. Actually, no. You have to name all 3 to get the point. Screw that. Sorry, I'm being very inconsistent with the rule. Fuck it, you know? It's only a
Is
live
the other one
stream.
in the Pertwee era still, or am I crazy?
No, it's not in the Pertwee era.
Peter. No, he wasn't. And it was just a voice?
No.
Yes, it was just a voice. Because this is just voices he's played, not roles.
It's not Zygons, is it?
Right, I'm gonna have to hurry you.
Is it Zygons?
Nope. All right, okay, I'm gonna end it now unless you've got any last minute interjections. You're really gonna kick yourself. It was the Cybermen in the Invasion.
I was going to say the Cybermen.
Wait, he did?
He did.
He did the
Wait, Dylan, you remember when I said no, that can't be because I thought I knew every Cyberman voice actor.
It was him. It was him. Because he plays
right,
Packer in that as well. That's why you're gonna be kicking yourself. No.
That's why.
Right, okay. Now nobody gets a point for that one again. Right. Oh God. I mean, well, never mind. Well, the next question is: which serial contains the shortest individual episode of Doctor Who?
Mind Robber.
No.
No, really?
Yeah, there's actually one episode with slightly less.
Wait, what? What? I missed the question.
Which serial contains the shortest individual episode of Doctor Who?
Mind Robber.
No, there's one with slightly less than Mind Robber.
Is it Revenge of the Cybermen?
Yeah.
No.
Meglos?
Yeah, it's Meglos.
Is it? No, because Mind Robber 4 or 5 is only 17 minutes. Meglos has an 18-minute, but
No, Mind Robber's 19 minutes, isn't it?
No. Mind Robber's shorter.
Oh, wait, so did I get it?
I'm pretty sure Mind Robber's a little longer.
I'm googling this.
Mind Robber.
I'm
Point.
Right, well, go on, Google it.
Mind Robber episode 5 is 18 minutes exactly.
Yeah. Oh, shit.
Does that mean
I didn't realize episode 5 was short because I looked at episode 1 of the Mind Robber because I thought, oh, is that the shortest one? No, it isn't. Yeah.
Yeah,
I did get
Meglos
that
only
wrong,
has
didn't
Meglos 4 is 1930, but nothing shorter than that.
I? Ah, well, fuck. Oh well. Yeah, no, I got that completely wrong.
So it's
Nobody's
2-1.
going to get a point for that because I did it wrong. I'll do it. I'll make up another question at the end to make up for that one. Right. Which Doctor Who episode was the least viewed live?
Least live views?
Yeah, when it broadcast, which one got the least views? I'll give you an extra point if you can guess how much.
Ours are just classic Who.
No, we're talking the whole show. Which one was least viewed live?
Eaters of Light.
Yes, that's right.
Wait, really? So
Yeah.
recent?
Yeah, Eaters of Light is the least viewed live, at least, story of Doctor Who. and I'll give you either of you a point if you can guess exactly how much. I'll give it to you within like a decimal point.
Is it in the 4 millions?
I'm not telling you. You both get one guess each.
3.4 million.
No, lower.
4.1.
No, it is 2.89 million.
Wow.
It was really badly viewed. I mean, it got a lot more on iPlayer, but still pretty embarrassing. Yeah, so,
that's almost like that would be good viewers for an American show.
Yeah. All right, so I think you have 4 points at the moment, Jacob, and you still have none, Joey.
Dylan, who's even keeping score at this point? You took away my mind robber point, which I totally.
No, he deserves the mind robber point.
Right.
He deserves the mind
if
robber
you agree
point.
to give him the mind robber point, I'll give him it. Not that it'll do him any good, but
Exactly. I just want something.
right, yeah, you can have the mind robber point. You can have the dunce point. There you go. 4-1.
Okay. Fair.
Yeah. Question number 8. Which episode of Doctor Who had the first use of location filming?
Reign of Terror.
That's right. That was you said it again, Jacob, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was Jacob. Man.
Yeah, there you go. Bloody hell. 5-1. Right, there's two more questions left, so you can gain some honor back, but you're not going to win. Right, so God, I've written this question really complicated. All right, so I'm just going to read it out as I've wrote it and hope it makes sense. Everyone gets one guess. On average, how many times per episode does Matt Smith use the sonic screwdriver? And a bonus point for how much more it is than Tom Baker's average. So you both get one guess, and whoever gets the closest will win. How many times per episode on average does Matt Smith use the sonic screwdriver? And how much more is that than Tom Baker's use? And that's a bonus point. So I'll let Jacob get to go first.
Oh,
17.
What, per episode on average?
Yeah, 17. I'm pretty sure it's 17.
Right, okay.
Per average.
Go on then, Joey.
All right, I'm gonna say 15 as average, or no, 14. Just bump it down a bit.
I don't want to give it to either of you, but I'm gonna have to give it to Joey because he uses it 3.42 times per episode. He uses the sonic screwdriver a lot, but 17 times per episode. Are you insane?
I thought I read that statistic somewhere.
Oh my god, you are mad.
Did anybody catch my original guess? Because Jacob threw me off by saying 17. I was going to say.
Well, Joey, you still got the point, so don't complain, right? And again, I'm not going to give the closest one to this a point, but if you get it within like a reasonable amount, I'll give you it. Like if you get it within, half a point close. Like how much different was Tom Baker's average use of the sonic screwdriver per episode? So it's 3.42 for Smith. How many times on average does Tom Baker use the sonic screwdriver? Jacob, you go first.
Wait, I have a question before
1.3.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's the. All right. Okay. We'll just do it per episode. How much does Tom Baker do it? Because it's too complicated to have to work out the difference. So is 1.3 still your answer?
Jacob?
What?
Right. So I'm changing it because it's just too complicated to kind of do the difference between it. So we're just going to do how much on average does Tom Baker use on the screwdriver for the bonus point.
Like once per episode.
So you're just going to go for a round one, are you?
Yep.
Right. What are you going to go for, Joey?
When you say on average, do you mean per individual episode or per episode?
It's just, on average, how often does he use it per episode?
Okay, you mean individual.
I think so, yeah. I got this off Reddit, so.
Say 1.2.
1.2, is that what you're going for?
Yeah.
Well, you're both way too far out for me to give you either of a point. It's 0.09 per episode.
I can believe that.
Because he uses it so, like, because he got so many episodes and he uses it so, but it just goes to show how overused the sonic screwdriver is. The Matt Smith uses it 3.42 times per episode, and Tom Baker only uses it 0.09. It's just insane. Yeah, that's the reason why I put this in here, just because it's an insane statistic. Right. Okay. What was the first episode in which the Doctor has a beard?
Wedding of River Song?
Nope. It's 5-2 at the moment, by the way. Which means Joey can still look like he did pretty good if he wins this question.
The series 3 finale.
Nope. I'll give you a clue. It's Classic Who.
Does he have one in that? Oh wait! Oh, it's
Leisure Hive.
Yeah, that's right. That's right, Jacob.
You said it at the same time. God damn it!
Yeah, I knew you should have just said it rather than saying you knew you said it. You gave Jacob a chance to sneak in there, right? So it's 6-2 to Jacob, and that's the end of the quiz.
Wait, do I get that too? Because I said that at the exact same time.
On my end, Jacob said it first.
Oh, that's okay.
On
It's
my
okay.
end, while Jacob was saying, you were saying, I know this. Oh, yeah, no. Well, a good quiz about the fact that I completely fucked up. Also, I hate you, Harry. Do not say Bazinga in my chat again.
Oh yeah, I haven't been watching the chat during this quiz.
God. Okay, the chat has got so much worse since I stopped looking at it. Right.
Shall we end it here then?
You do not control this stream. Right, so yeah, that's the end of the stream. If anybody wants to post any like really insulting comments just before we go, just go ahead. So I'd like to thank Ryan for coming on for one thing. It's a shame that his internet fucked up, which not his fault. It happens, especially in Liverpool where the infrastructure is just crumbling in such a shithole. Just joking. No, yeah. So thanks for coming on, Ryan. I hope you'll come on again, and thanks for coming on again, Joey and Jacob. I'll leave links to your channel in the description once the video goes up. And yeah, no,
and link to the audio production too, because that's
I'll link to that as well because everybody wants to see your VNA masterpiece.
Me as the Doctor.
Yeah, no. So great stuff, and it was very good to have you on. I hope to have you on another time. Definitely see you when we do panel discussions for Series 11.
yes.
All right. Well, that's all for tonight, and thank you all for watching, and thanks for your questions, and thanks for making the chat extra cancerous tonight, just as usual. And yeah, so I'll see you all back next month for another Lord Slarr live streams. And next month, just to give you a little hint about what it's going to be about, there's going to be a lot of very heavy drinking going on. So it's going to be quite an exciting one, mainly because it'll be just after my birthday. So see you later. See you next time. Have a good one.